Hey there, welcome back to Volleyball Stats 9000. This is the app that I designed to give me just a simple way to track some key stats for an under 16 team I coached. Just to help them see where the actions they were making on the court helped them win or lose a match. Since then, it's evolved into a tool that helps me scout upcoming matches, manage the lineup before a game, mind the rotations and substitutions during a match, then review stats after the match to help me plan training sessions. There's even some new features in the latest version that will help me track stats during the match and give us a good idea of where we're succeeding and maybe what we want to emphasize in the next game or two. As I've used it in matches, both internationally and domestically for adults and youth, I've added certain features over time that I've found really helped me out, especially when I'm a coach on my own. So let me show you a couple of them now. So here it is. We've seen this before. If you've seen the Getting Started video, this is the typical start screen, new match. I can name it here. There's no panic if I forget to name it, which I always do, because we can rename it later in the history. We can set a date for our match. We can enter in our roster, as I showed before. You can just type in a name. If the last word that you type in is a number, it'll convert it into a number for that player. So if I type in, for example, Kate space 11, it'll convert that 11 into a number like it did over here. I'm going to show you some of the more advanced features today. So I've been using auto libero tracking and track substitutions, as well as track passing for all of my matches, because they're specially tailored for the European game, where we have our liberos go in for the middles serve. Liberos don't serve in Europe. And I also have it set up to track substitutions based on our European rules. So we've got 6 subs per set. And if a player starts on the court, they can come out and go back in. And if they come out again, that's it, they're done. If a player starts on the bench and they go in and then they come out, that's it, they're done. So a lot of those rules have been implemented in the app. So I'm just going to show you what it would look like if we start with a previous roster. Maybe we'll add a couple extra players. So we'll add an Anya in there. We'll add a Sandra, just so that we can have plenty of subs. Now I have auto libero tracking selected, as well as track substitutions. And if I hit start match, it's actually going to drop me into the setup screen. In fact, I can go over here, and usually at this stage I hide the sidebar just so I can focus on my lineup. This is where I can rotate people around. If Kate's my setter and she's starting in 1, then great, we're in the right spot. It's asking me to select a player from the subs to be a libero, so we're going to have Deirdre be our libero, so I'm going to tap on that. Our liberos, when they're on the subs bench, will turn blue. And then it asks me to select up to 2 players who will be replaced by the libero in the back row. So Megan and Francesca will be my middles. And that tells me I'm ready to start game. I can also tap on other people on the court right now, and it'll just change the people being substituted by the libero to those folks. I can also toggle this in between games, libero tracking and track subs. If I find that it's not working for me, I can always disable it for the next game. I can also hit the play pause button to temporarily pause tracking. It won't auto sub in a libero or auto sub them out, just in case I'm doing something a little bit different. So now it'll also get an indicator of whether we're receiving first or serving first. We'll say that we're serving first here, and we can start the game. Right away, Deirdre's been subbed in because Megan was middle, who's being subbed out for the libero, so she's come in. We're serving first. We can keep track of a few serves here. Imagine we get an ace or 2. Then we have a service error. It'll auto switch into side-out mode where I have this passing. Now the difference with track passing mode is that these will all come up automatically. So I can track a pass stat for anybody on the court. If I want to designate somebody as a setter and never have the passing dialog come up unless I select it, I can tap on this 3 times. So I would go over to their card, Tap 3 times, and you can see there's an S overlaid in the background of the player card. This is only really useful so far when when we have track passing turned on. And so when we side out, all these dialogues will pop up, so we can easily mark what type of pass we got from each person. If we side out, we rotate, we can see Deirdre moves over here to left back, Monica comes back to serve. If we rotate again, Deirdre automatically goes to the bench, Megan goes in, Francesca's back to serve. If she has a service error, Deirdre comes in, and we also have a little indicator here of the number of the player that's been subbed off. Now you'll also note, because I have track subs turned on, we have subs remaining now in the game. So if I say, I'm going to send on Alex, we're going to do a double switch. So for Kate, we'll have Anya go on for Ali. We can see that their box is surrounded by yellow, which means that if they come off the court, they can't go back on. We can also see on the bench that these two players have been subbed off because they have a yellow shadow behind them. So if we've got through a few rotations and we decided, actually, we want Kate back on for Alex, when I tap on her name down here, I can either tap or drag that card up here. But if I tap on it and then tap on Alex, Kate's back in the front row. We can see that she was subbed in for 12. Alex is now grayed out on the bench, so she can't come back in. And I see that I have 3 subs remaining for the game. If I decide the double switch is over, I'm going to put Ali back in. You can see Anya gets grayed out. We have 2 remaining subs. Sandra will go in for Natalie. If we sub around, now we have 1 remaining sub. If we have Natalie go back in for Sandra. The whole bench is great. Now, the whole bench is great because all of our subs have been used up. Our Libero is also grayed out, but that will still work. So if we rotate around, Deirdre comes to the front row, Megan still comes in, Deirdre comes off. If we added another player, someone showed up late, say we had Gaia show up late, and we had her jump on the court, she's also going to be grayed out because we've used up all of our subs for this game. So if I did want to substitute anybody in, I could hit the play pause button. My Libero and sub tracking are grayed out. Let's say that they're not being enforced right now. So if I rotate all the way around, Megan would play all the way around. No Libero substitution. And I can also sub players back in. So just in case you're scrimmaging and you're not too worried about the rules, you can easily turn that off if you forget. You can also keep track of course, the live stats here. We have an idea of what's going on at a quick glance, game 1 and the game in progress. If we go take a look at the summary, we have a new view that shows us how the team's doing. So we've not had any attacks. If we tap on any of these cards with an information indicator on them, they'll flip and show you the stats, in this case, for the sets, the kills for the sets, kill percentage, error percentage. And also when we flip over these cards, we'll see offensive errors, serving errors, and digs versus blocks. Now we haven't done a lot in this game, so if we do start to rack up some kills and some errors, we'll also note that in the live stats, a player's name will turn red when they have 3 errors across all the different categories. So Francesca has a service error, she has a hitting error, and that's it right now. Now if she gets 1 more error, I'll get a little badge just telling me that I've got 1 player with 3 errors on the court, so I might want to think about taking her off. The yellow is just to give us a heads up of who's maybe near, maybe to get some subs ready to go into the game. Just in case. So that's the new. This summary view is brand new. So this is something we can check out, almost like watching a game on television. You can see the kill leaders, serving leaders. This is just for your team, of course, because with this app, you're not statting the other team unless you've got two going at once. So this is just a handy display that you can give to your players after the match, maybe to say, this is how we performed at a very high level on some of these key metrics. And maybe you're interested in kill percentage and error percentage or kills per set. Maybe you're just going to show them the hitting efficiency and kills and errors. So once we've finished a game, we can hit end game. Now we're ready to set up again. So we go back to on court. This is where we can change libero tracking or tracking subs. If I already have a libero selected, it'll ask me just to select two players in the back row. Oftentimes, if I'm changing teams wholesale, I might pause tracking for just a bit so I can put people in. So I can say something like, actually, we're going to change quite a few players here. I'm not going to stress about the names and numbers just yet, because that's all going to be reset when I start anyway. If I want to drag people around the court, I can also drag, and it'll swap players on court. So now when I go back, if I'm ready, I've set everybody up. Maybe we're going to swap these two. We'll hit the play pause button. I can select two players who are going to be subbed out by the libero. In this case, we're not serving first. We served first last time. We'll be receiving. So I'll hit start game. And we're ready to go. So as we rotate around, we can see Natalie comes in, Deirdre comes out, Alex serves into the net, Deirdre comes on. If we check out our summary, we can see it updating as we get kills and aces throughout the match. And when we end the match, we'll see over in the sidebar, if we go down here, this is my unnamed match. I can always, if I hide the sidebar, just give myself a bit more space, I can always tap on this to rename it, to give it something a little bit more useful. I can see here, we still have Francesca highlighted. She had 3 errors in that particular match. We can look at the summary. That's the same as the summary that we saw in match. So if you want to provide some kind of stats that you hand out to your players after the game, this is be a good place to go and grab them. We also have the graph feature that I talked about in getting started. That gives you a rough idea of how the match went. And you can tap on these different items to see what caused the point in your favor or in your opponent's favor. So we do our best based on the stats you capture to get an idea of what the score roughly should be and what kind of runs you've just gone on. So if you do have an assistant sitting on the bench filling this out, this graph should give you an idea of how the match is going, as well as looking at it, obviously, with your own eyes. In the new Notes tab, we've added our notes, of course. You can go and tap here and add notes about the match. Maybe some post-match analysis you want to talk about with the team. And it'll also include scouting notes. So if you've taken down some notes before during hitting lineups saying, oh, we got to watch out for the middle, or we got to watch out for this one or the other one, you'll also see, when you go to the Notes tab, you'll see the notes, and then you'll see another segment for the scouting report, just in case you want to review any notes and see if the match went the way you thought it would. If we take a look at some of the games in action that we had, so we have our summary here. We can see we've got our team hitting. Not brilliant hitting efficiency still. We're working on it. 8 kills per set up until the last one. Didn't go quite as well. Our passer rating could still be improved a bit. but we did dig a lot of balls. And you can see our two liberos really carried a lot of the load there. The last thing I want to show you, when we're in a match, if we grab this same group again, and we turn on, actually we can leave off auto Libero tracking, but we're going to just set up this match. In addition to using Libero tracking to tap on a player to make them the Libero, you can also swipe up to make them a Libero. So I just tap on the small button and swipe up. And if I swipe up again, it'll turn them back to a regular player. In the future, we'll be adding the ability to assign positions other than just triple tapping for a setter and swiping up for a Libero. But that's for the future. In version 1.4, we'll have a bit more roster management coming along, as well as some improvements in some of the tracking, match analysis, and all the rest. Hopefully you find this useful. I've been using this a lot in my matches. I'm really excited to use the summary view just to give players a quick look at what's going on in a match. It will work for all your matches captured with Volleyball Stats 9000 already. There's no change in the format, so we're all good to go. And best of luck with your season.